Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the Hisenior MEGA5P. It's Hisenior's latest hybrid, a 1+4. And before I carry on and before I continue, let me just say that it's actually quite I wouldn't say frustrating, but it's actually quite invigorating to a certain extent that every week we get flooded with new IEMs, and the last couple of months have been no exception to that. I mean, every week there's so many launches, so many really nice IEMs being introduced into the market, that you always think, well, how good is this going to be? Is it going to be able to outdo the competition? And even just this week when I reviewed the JQ4U, and if you guys saw that review, I compared it to the AudioSense AQ4, which is one of my favorite and one of my rigs for under $200 in terms of a hybrid. In that case, it's a 1+3. The JQ is actually a 1+4. And I compared it against that. I compared the JQ against the AudioSense. I compared it against the Stargazer. This thing is an absolute beast of an IEM. Absolute beast of an IEM. I mean, I really hope that they can do something with regards to getting their products out there, because honestly, this thing is tremendous. I compared it as well with the Rose Techniques, the QT9 MK2S, another amazing IEM, 1+4 again, and that thing under $300. I think it's a no-brainer. If you want a really proper sounding IEM, it's a no-brainer. For me, it's better than the Moonjob Blessing too, and I think that says a lot. I would have liked to compare it to the Dusk, but honestly, I don't think the Dusk will have what it takes to actually bring down the QT9. But anyway, this brings me to the Hisenior 5P. I'm just going to call it 5P from now on. And let me just quickly, I'm actually just going to quickly show you the graph. And by showing you the graph, you will, I'm sure you will understand straight away what I'm saying. Just 1 second. Okay. All right. There we go. That's the graph of the 5P. And when you look at something like this, chances are that it's going to sound as good as it looks, because you take a look, for example, at let me just get something here to point without my big fat finger. You look at how it reaches the 100 hertz, and by the latest 200 hertz, it's flat. It stays nice and flat, so it blends from the sub bass into the bass flawlessly. No bleeding into the mids, nothing. Then you have a nice smooth peanut gain, peaks at around 2K and carries on smoothly all the way throughout. A nice little small dip there at around 5K to just take away any possible sibilance, and a nice amount of extension then past you go past the 10K area, and even with the flaws of the coupler and everything, there's a nice bit of extension there. And you know straight away that when you are in the presence of this IM is definitely going to be sounding good. And you know what? It sounds amazing. There's a lot of things which, when I did my previous review on the JQ4, that are present in the 5P, and a lot of things. Why? Well, because, and I'll show you a graph in a second, the flaw or what I would have liked the JQ4U to have had, so that it would make it ultimately really shine, was a little bit more of extension up top, and the 5P has it. That's it. So the 5P has basically corrected what was deficient or lacking to a certain extent in the JQ, and complemented that nice extension up top. And wow, let me say this, wow. It is amazing how just those extra few dBs were able to just, fix things up so nicely. I'm going to show you the graph because it actually it deserves it, so you can see. Okay, so this, let me put it in red so it's more visible. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's the graph of my JQ4U Pro, and as you can see, very nice. I mean, nice, smooth sub bass into the bass, into the mids. Very, very smooth, very relaxed. Absolutely, honestly, nothing that you can falter. And it's like I said in my review, it's a super smooth IEM, a very easy IEM to listen to. It gives a very much a grown-up signature, and it's really, really good. That's the truth. I mean, let me just give you the Stargazer here for a second. Okay, this is a Stargazer, and you can see straight away why I've praised the Stargazer and why I consider the Stargazer such a nice IM, because it's got that little bit extra there in that 2 to 3K area, and then as well again 6 to 7, and then past 10K, just to make that, to give that little extra air to the treble, to give that little extra crispness on the detailed retrieval, to make imaging a little bit more pinpoint sharp, and makes the Stargazer an absolute beast. I mean, honestly, I know I might be sounding like I'm hyping it, because no, it's not hype, it's the truth. The Stargazer is an absolute beast of an IM, period. And for the $179 that it costs roughly, it's not easy to beat it. The 4U offers a lot of that, but because it doesn't have that little extra extension up top, it just makes it a little bit more closed in, a little bit darker. The detailed retrieval, the soundstage, the imaging, they all suffer with that. Just for the sake of comparison now, not for the sake of comparison now, I'm gonna add on the 5P so you can see what has happened. So 5P is on. Let me just take the Stargazer out, and there you go. The 5P is almost, you could almost say, look, it's the same set, there's just some channel imbalance. Same configuration, 1+4, exactly the same bass, the same mids, the same, everything is exactly the same up to 8K. And then there's just that extra amount of extension, which is very much noticeable. I mean, the difference is so big, it's not even funny. It's noticeable. The graph doesn't portray it 100%. It's really noticeable. You can really feel that extra crispness. The female voices, they got that extra crispness. Deanna Kroll's voice just comes across that little extra. Everything, just guitars, everything, with just this little slight adjustment. I mean, let me just take the 3Q, the 4UP out and put the Stargazer. It now is almost like the Stargazer in terms of a graph, and the truth is, it sounds like the Stargazer. And all of this to say what? Why am I going through all this trouble of trying to explain things in this manner? Well, because if I considered in my previous review, this was I mean, you really couldn't go wrong with any of the choices that I had in front of you. Was it be it the Rose Techniques, or the AQ4, the Stargazer, the JQ? You couldn't go wrong with any of them. The reality was that the Stargazer had one thing going for it, which made it like a no-brainer: the price. The only difficulty was accessibility, access to it, getting it. So this would be, let's say, ultimately the best choice of that group of IEMs I tested, because of its price. In terms of accessibility, the QT9 was, if you wanted something a little bit with the same kind of sound as this, was the next option to go for, let's put it that way. The AQ4 for my audio sense was the option to go for if you liked your bass a little bit more fat, a little bit more thick, let's put it that way. that was the option to go. And in terms of timbre and tonality, I just love the AQ4. And this was an option. The JQ was an option for a relaxed sound. If you wanted really a nice, mature, relaxed sound that didn't do anything wrong, and it was this is an unpretentious IEM. It doesn't pretend to be something that is not. All of this to say what? This at $189, which is what you can get it for. This is the choice to go now in that group. Out of all of those IEMs, it's the choice. Period. There's really nothing I can add because it's the truth. The Hisenior MEGA5P is the option for someone that wants a mature sounding IEM with properly executed bass, mids, vocals, instruments, good timbre, good tonality, very good detail retrieval, good soundstage, good imaging. There's really nothing, honestly, there's really nothing that I can falter. There's really nothing that I can point my finger at and say, this could have been better, honestly. So if you can't get a Stargazer, get this instead. And honestly, if you cannot get this and you've got up to $200 to spend, get this and be done with it. It's an absolute, I mean, it's an absolutely amazing IM. That's all I can really say. I was genuinely not expecting it. In terms of its fit, and well, it comes with this box, plenty tips, so it's got a basic packaging, let's put it that way. The IMs are resin shell. You can see they look really nicely built, got a good solid construction. The cable is a good quality cable. I would have liked the terminals on it to have been a little bit nicer, okay, but hey, this is me just nitpicking. It's got a 3.5mm. It would have been nice if they could have made it a modular system, but that would have added maybe a little bit extra cost, but it could be done. Let's put it that way. It could be done. If TRN can offer the Kirin with a modular system on the cable, I'm sure that Hisenior could also have offered that there in this case. So fit is perfect in my ears. I've got absolutely no issues. I'm using the KBO7 tips, the medium size. Fit is good, isolation is good with these tips, and because it's got a nice long stem, I can actually shove the IM right inside of my ear, nice and deep. So with that, doing away with any unnecessary peaks and resonances that sometimes happen. And honestly, I couldn't be more surprised. This is my definite trick for $200 if you want a properly done 1+4 hybrid. No brainer. It's this. Anyway, guys, as always, I'll post my songs and all the stuff that I use on the description, and you guys like, subscribe, ask questions. That's it. All right, take care. Bye bye.